feel decency no matter how much he talks about it. However, but it is some sort of this counter culture has always an attitude of inevitability. I mean, we talked about about manliness, but this is as well as about other cultures. This is not confined to men or women. Think about what, especially with cultural issues. I mean, if your culture, if your religion is being hated or in a way as considered as not fit to be part of the mainstream culture, whatever it is, then of course you create your self spaces where you can relive your ideas, your beliefs, your as well as your culture. I mean, one very striking point is language. So if you speak a language or if it is your mother tongue, then of course you will try to in a way preserve it, speak with other people, whatever, and this still maintains some sort of an other culture to the existing one. I mean, especially if this existing culture tries everything to prevent you from speaking your mother tongue, then this may be resistant. I mean, of course, then we have to talk about some problems and issues with this association chain or how we created antagonism. And it became pretty much evident that this antagonism, it is some sort of arises from a point of insufficient acknowledgement or even from a perceived inferiority, and that the goal, we will speak about it later, then you seek a counter culture, where you in a way get fulfillment, and this would then mean that this antagonism or this antagonistic culture would arose from a feeling of inferiority. I mean, this is one part of it, and this is beyond doubt true. I mean, if you only see in some places in North America with what is happening to black people or to Afro American there. However, but nevertheless, counter culture does not have to arise from a feeling of inferiority. I mean, we talked about language. Imagine you speak a language, Italian, French, or whatever. This does not mean that you create a culture which is opposite, or which you perceive is diametrically opposite to the host culture, as well as that you would not feel yourself as inferior or whatever because you have still your own culture. And then because in our argumentation, you would only create an antagonistic culture or a counter culture through inferiority, and this would be the only motivation. And there would not be some sort of positive fulfillment like happiness, but it is rather sadness, and we some sort of shed light onto a male perspective, and then that they try to compete with other people for resources. We try to argue that it is feasible for females as well, but however, I mean, if you only consider that in our society women are disadvantaged, then why don't they create a counter culture? This is indeed very interesting, though, because you have to ask yourself, I mean, women are disadvantaged. Why don't they create a typical culture where you would see in North America with this rap culture, with these subcultures, or in France or in Germany? why don't they seek the counter culture here? So this has, of course, issues with nationalism, with belonging to a group, but however, it some sort of makes us or demands that we have to further analyze because it is in a way still insufficient. Why would this create something, or why don't have you some sort of subculture which is not antagonistic but which some sort of considers itself as part of an overall culture. This is something you can partially see and detect in the US. I mean, people, for example, people consider themselves as Irish. This is very common as Irish, but yet still as Americans or Italians, and still consider themselves as Americans, whatever. So why can't you some sort of create a positive approach to this culture? And the answer is there, of course, Italians, Poles, Germans, especially Catholics, and as well as Irish. They were not accepted in the beginning. So Irish or Italians in the beginning, when they moved to America, they were not even considered as white, only later. So this was partially due to their religion, due to their Catholicism, which was considered as alien, as un-American, because Irish as well as in general Catholics, they follow Rome or the Pope, and they said that there is some perception, especially among Protestants, that this would be against freedom or in a way any freedom perception. So they were not considered as well. But then by and by they were adopted into the system, into being part of the overall majority, and to this if you only watch the US, Irish Americans play a crucial role in the US. I mean, you of course would not win an election without the support of Irish Americans, so they have become very important, as well as Italo Americans. So there, of course, you have to say, yeah, okay, is this been possible as well as with Middle Eastern? I mean, the Middle Eastern migration into the West started, in France. It was already earlier, but into Germany and Austria, the Middle Eastern migration, or in the West in general, started after the Second World War, you could say. So these are very young migrants. So one day will they be accepted as well, or will they remain as outcast forever? It does not look like that way. I mean, especially if you knew what went on in Austria. I mean, this was pretty much hideous. However, maybe it can change. I mean, we know about some hideous incidents against Italians and Irish in North America as well. So there may be a chance so that this subculture, counterculture, will then be adopted into the mainstream, or will become part of this culture as well. However, but in a way, this antagonism has some issues, especially where we have to ask ourselves, yeah, with antagonism, or why we or that you become a social outcast, or that you are some sort of pushed in the periphery, may have a reason in reality. It may founded in reality, but your response, especially what we said here in this role, in our example, is with manliness, whatever, then this is partially illusionary. So you could, if you perceive that you can only compete with others in your manliness, then you have to create your manliness in a way in a way as invincible, whatever it is. So this will uh, this will of course incur a lot of issues. This will of course incur a lot of problems. However, but it is not founded in reality, and then you have to ask yourself, yeah, how much of it is real of this counterculture. I mean, if we talked about it, of course, the American, of course, if you're in North America, if you grow up in the hoods, in the favelas, and things are being tough, but one main issue is that you are being foreign, that you are alien, that this is part of your identity, or that you have to have perceived that you are only there where you are, or that you only have to, or that the reason why you are in the hood is because you are a foreigner, an alien, Afro-American, and so on. And then if you create your counter culture on how much of this then really is with the fact, with the reality meaning is your attitude, whatever it is. I mean, is this about survival? Is this about self? Is this about you? Is this about manliness? Is this only about getting the right girl, as you wanna say it? I mean, this is one big theme in the rap music. I mean, getting the girl, being successful, having money, and in the end, it is indeed very similar to all these demands. What the middle class follows as well, because in the middle class as well, I mean, acquiring wealth in order to show that you are laborers. This is something which is demanded, as well as having a family with children or whatever it is. It has been considered as manly, or having a lot of women. However, so they follow the same path or the same goal, if you want. So in that sense, you could say that subcultures or countercultures, they just do away with the barriers so that everyone can access it. And if if this subculture counterculture was created because you could not partake in the society, because you were outcast, because you could not jobs or could not afford things, because you have to live in bad neighborhoods where I mean, this is unbelievable, where the next 3 to 4 miles you will not find a grocery store for whatever reason. So that you're excluded in that way, and then your subculture, counterculture enables you to boost your self-esteem, in that sense that you become a part of a society, or that you, being as outcasts, still are part of a group, a society, but yet with the same purpose like the other group as well. I mean, this is not something you should some sort of look negative on it, not at all, but this is, I think, very interesting, and which we have to keep in mind as well as, and this is that sub cultures, counter cultures, they do away with these barriers, or one reason, but as well as they establish barriers in order to bar others from it. And this bar others from it, I mean, this tough boy image, which of course excludes others as well. So it's, in that sense, it is the same in Justin B. However, we will have to talk about it, and we will do it the next time. I am Adem Kievas from Ordu in Turkey. I hope you are doing fine in the pandemic, and take care of yourself. Bye.